You know the situation. You're in the elevator, maybe by the coffee machine. Someone asks, how are you? And before you even think, your mouth just opens and says,
I'm fine.
I'm good. I'm fine. Every time. It's automatic. It doesn't matter if your house is on fire or you just won the lottery. It's always just fine.
It really is the great human autopilot, isn't it? It's safe. It keeps things moving smoothly because, well, it doesn't ask anything of the other person.
But it's also a huge missed opportunity.
A massive one.
Yeah.
Because what's actually going on under the surface of that I'm fine is this complex swirl of data, emotions, stress, physical feelings that we just, paper over.
And that's exactly what we're looking at today. We're doing a deep dive into what I'm calling the emotional toolkit.
Yeah.
We've got a really comprehensive set of source materials for this. They cover everything from, basic vocabulary to the psychology of why we feel things.
And even how different cultures see a tear or a smile.
Right.
And the mission here isn't just to learn some new words for being sad. It's about precision. The sources make a really strong case that if you can't name a feeling, you can't really manage it.
Which is the foundation of emotional intelligence, or EQ.
Exactly. It's that term we hear all the time in corporate workshops, but what does it actually mean in a real conversation?
Yeah, what does it look like on a Tuesday morning?
That's what we're going to unpack. We'll start with the real basics, the primary colors of emotion, then move into the physical stuff, and then get into the really nuanced feelings, the difference between anxiety and fear, and how to react when someone else shares their feelings with you.
So let's start with that foundation. The source material uses this great analogy of primary colors for our feelings. I found that really interesting.
Well, think of it like painting. You start with red, yellow, and blue, and from those three, you can mix pretty much any color imaginable.
So the emotional equivalent is?
Happy, sad, and angry. The sources argue that at the most basic level, we're usually in one of those three states.
Everything else is just a mixture or a different shade.
In a way, yeah. It's the starting point. And there's a quick grammar point the texts make here about the difference between I am and I feel.
I am happy versus I feel happy.
In English, we basically treat them as the same thing.
But I am feels more permanent, doesn't it? Like it's my whole identity. I am angry. That feels like it defines me.
It can feel that way, but in conversation, they mean the same thing. But here's where the sources make a crucial pivot. They draw a hard line between actual emotions and what they call survival signal.
Ah, the physical stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tired, hungry, thirsty, scared. These aren't really emotions in a psychological sense. They're biological alerts from your body.
Tired is your battery is low.
Hungry is a request for fuel. But we treat them like they're complex emotions. I mean, we've all been there, right? You think you're absolutely furious with your partner.
But really, you just haven't eaten since breakfast.
Yes. The whole hangry phenomenon, it's real. Your blood sugar drops, cortisol spikes, and your brain reads that physical stress as emotional anger. So the source suggests a really simple tool to untangle this.
The word because.
The because connector. It sounds almost too simple, but it actually changes the dynamic. Instead of just saying, I'm tired, which is a flat statement, you say, I'm tired because I didn't sleep well.
Ah, so it turns a complaint into a little story, gives context.
And that invites empathy. If you just snap, I'm tired, I might think you're bored with this conversation. But if you add the because, I get it, it tells me this isn't about you, this is about my night.
Okay, so we've got the foundations down, primary colors, biological needs, but life is so much more complicated than just sad or hungry. The sources are pretty critical of just adding intensifiers, like saying, I'm very happy.
They call it lazy language, and I kind of agree. It's like going to a doctor and just saying, I hurt. They can't do much with that. But if you say, I have a sharp pain right here, they know what to do. Emotional language needs that same granularity.
So let's run through the happiness spectrum. I think we all just default to good or happy. But what's the difference between, say, excited and thrilled?
They're close, but the source of the feeling is different. Excited is all about anticipation. It's forward-looking. You're excited for your vacation next month.
Right. You wouldn't say, I'm excited about something that already happened.
Exactly. For that, you might be thrilled. Thrilled usually has a sense of achievement baked into it. You passed a big exam. You're thrilled. It's that high energy, I did it feeling.
And then there's delighted.
Delighted is often a reaction to a pleasant surprise. Someone brings you an unexpected gift. You're delighted. It's a lighter, almost sparkling kind of happiness.
Okay, let's flip to the sadness spectrum. This is where I think people really clam up. Nobody wants to be a downer, so we just say, I'm a bit down.
And down is a good word, or downcast. It implies a quiet, low energy, a heaviness. But then compare that to miserable.
Miserable just feels more physical.
It often is. You're miserable when you have the flu for 3 days. It's an all-encompassing, full-body unhappiness. And if you tell me you're down, I might offer you a coffee. If you tell me you're miserable, I'm thinking about soup and a blanket.
The word itself signals the kind of support you need.
That's a great point. What about upset? That's a word I use all the time. I'm so upset about this.
Upset is a fascinating one because it's a cocktail of feelings. The source defines it as a mix of sadness, worry, and a little bit of anger all swirled together.
It's chaotic.
It is. Your flight gets canceled. You're sad you're not getting home, angry at the airline and worried about missing a meeting. You're not just one thing. You're upset.
Speaking of chaotic energy, let's talk anger. The source breaks this down by intensity, which feels important because I think people can overreact if you use the wrong word.
For sure. At the very bottom, you have annoyed. This is low-level irritation. The bus is 5 minutes late. Your upstairs neighbor is vacuuming at midnight.
But if it gets worse, you climb the ladder to furious or livid. Yes, and livid is such a powerful word. It implies you've lost some control. You're not livid because someone used the last of the milk. You're livid because of a huge betrayal or a car accident. It's pure rage.
Right. If someone says they're livid, you give them space.
You let the storm pass. And then there's the fear spectrum. This one really hit home for me because I think we use nervous and anxious as if they're the same thing.
And they're not.
Not at all. Nervous is tied to a specific event. You have a job interview, a first date, the event happens, and the nervousness is gone. It has an expiration date.
Whereas anxious can just hang around.
It's often free-floating. It's a general worry about the future, about the what-ifs. It doesn't need a specific trigger. And at the top of the scale, of course, is terrified. That's pure survival mode kicking in.
So the big takeaway here isn't just about sounding more articulate. It's that using a specific word gives the other person a map to your internal world.
You stop the guessing game, exactly. But that brings us to the other side of the equation. Conversation is a two-way street. You serve the ball, I'm feeling anxious, but how does the other person return it?
The social toolkit. And this is where I think we all drop the ball. Someone shares something big, good, or bad, and we just say, oh, wow.
Or, that sucks, both of which are total conversation killers. The sources really stress that empathy is an active verbal skill. You have to show it.
So let's take good news. I come to you and say, I'm thrilled I just got that promotion.
The default response is, that's good, but it's so passive. The source says you need to be a cheerleader, match their energy. That's amazing. That's fantastic. But the real power move is to add one phrase.
I'm so happy for you.
That's the one. It makes it shared. It says your win feels like my win. It builds the connection.
Okay, now the hard one. Bad news. I tell you, I'm just miserable. My dog is really sick.
The immediate instinct for so many people is to try and fix it. Have you tried this vet? You should look into this treatment.
But they don't need a consultant?
Not in that moment. They need a witness. The source points to a key phrase here. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Which can be confusing because I'm sorry often means I apologize.
Right, but here it's not an apology. It's an expression of sympathy. It means I feel sorrow because you are hurting. And you follow it up with validation. That must be so difficult for you.
You're just acknowledging how heavy their burden is, not trying to lift it, just seeing it.
And then, only after you've done that, you can offer help. And the source is very specific here. Don't say, let me know if you need anything.
Because that puts the work back on them.
It does. Instead, ask the golden question. Is there anything I can do? Or even better, make a specific offer. Can I bring you dinner tonight?
Practical help. What about in a professional setting? You can't exactly hug your boss if they seem overwhelmed by the quarterly reports.
No, probably not a good idea. But you can still offer a listening ear. Something like, you seem to have a lot on your plate. I'm here if you ever need to talk through an idea. It's supportive, but it respects the boundary.
That word overwhelmed comes up a lot in the psychology section of our sources. It feels like the signature emotion of our time.
I think it is. The source describes being overwhelmed as being buried or snowed under. It's not just being busy, it's a system failure. The input, the emails, the messages, the demands is more than your brain can process.
And this connects to another really useful distinction the text makes. Disappointment versus frustration. I used to use them interchangeably.
Me too, but they're completely different. Think about the timeline. Disappointment is about the past. You had an expectation that the movie would be great, and it wasn't. The gap between expectation and reality. That's disappointment.
Okay, and frustration.
Frustration is about the present. It's the feeling of being blocked from a goal. The classic example is building IKEA furniture. Your goal is to build the bookshelf. You're being blocked by these terrible instructions, that feeling, that building heat. That is frustration.
So disappointment is sadness about what happened. Frustration is anger about what's happening now.
That's a perfect way to summarize it. And then we have the big one, anxiety versus fear. We touched on it with vocabulary, but the biological difference is huge.
This is the evolutionary psychology part.
Right. Fear is a response to a clear, present danger. There's a bear in front of you. Adrenaline floods your system. You run.
Clear threat, clear response.
Anxiety is a response to a potential future threat. You're walking in the woods and you think, what if there's a bear around the next corner? There is no bear, but your body reacts as if there is.
You're paying interest on a debt you might not even owe.
A perfect metaphor. And in modern life, we face very few actual bears, but we face an infinite number of what-ifs. So our brains get stuck in a state of chronic, low-grade anxiety.
And managing all of this, the overwhelm, the frustration, this is what EQ actually is. It's not just about being nice.
Not at all. It's a process. The source breaks it into 2 steps: self-awareness and self-regulation. Self-awareness is just hitting the pause button. It's noticing, okay, my chest is tight, my jaw is clenched, I am feeling angry.
And self-regulation is deciding what to do with that information.
It's the choice. The source contrasts being hot-headed with being level-headed. A hot-headed person feels anger and boom, they explode. The feeling and the action are one. A level-headed person feels the anger, pauses, and chooses a response. That gap between the feeling and the action.
That's where the intelligence is.
That is EQ.
I love that. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. We've done the heavy psychology. Now for something a bit more fun. Speaking in color. The idioms.
Idioms are great. They're like little windows into how a culture visualizes a feeling.
For happiness, we have on cloud 9 and over the moon. Both are about being up high.
Right. Up is good, down is bad. It's almost a universal human metaphor. On cloud 9 is like you're floating, carefree. Over the moon has this energetic, jumping for joy feeling.
And for sadness, we go down. Down to the dumps.
It's such a heavy image, isn't it? The dumps was a garbage pile. It's low, it's stagnant. It perfectly captures the lethargy of being sad.
My favorites are the anger idioms. They're all about heat and explosions.
Yeah.
Short fuse.
It's a direct metaphor from dynamite. A short fuse means there's very little time between the spark and the Big Bang.
And see you red.
That one is literally physiological. When you're in a state of rage, blood pressure spikes, capillaries in your eyes can dilate. You actually can get tunnel vision. Your brain is so focused on the threat, you see red.
That's amazing. And for fear, we have butterflies in your stomach.
That fluttering feeling. That's actually the fight or flight response, diverting blood away from your digestive system to your major muscle so you can run.
So it's not butterflies, it's biology. Versus scared stiff.
Which is the freeze response. Sometimes the best way to survive a predator is to not move at all.
It's incredible how our biology is just coded right into our language. But, and this is the final big piece, that code isn't universal. The section on the cultural lens was a real eye-opener.
This is where we move from emotional intelligence to cultural intelligence, or CQ, because how we show feelings is almost entirely learned. The text contrasts reserved cultures with expressive cultures.
The reserved archetype being the traditional British stiff upper lip.
Exactly. In those cultures, stoicism is a virtue. You keep it together. You value privacy. Crying in a business meeting isn't seen as authentic, it's seen as a loss of control.
Whereas in an expressive culture, the source points to Mediterranean or Latin cultures. If you don't show emotion, you're the strange one.
Right. If you're not using your hands, if your voice isn't rising and falling, you can come across as cold or, even worse, untrustworthy, like you're hiding something.
But the text also points out that there's a global shift happening, the vulnerability shift.
Oh, this is huge. Thanks to the broader conversation around mental health, vulnerability is being reframed. Even in more reserved cultures, saying, I'm feeling overwhelmed, is starting to be seen as a sign of courage, not a weakness.
But in a global workplace, that clash of styles can still be a minefield.
Absolutely. A reserved boss sees an expressive employee as unprofessional and dramatic. The expressive employee sees the reserved boss as a robot who doesn't care about the team.
So what's the strategy to fix that?
The key is to depersonalize it. You have to understand that their emotional display, or their lack of one, is a cultural script they're following. It is not about you.
So they're not raising their voice because they're mad at me. They're raising their voice because that's how they communicate passion.
And they aren't being silent to ignore you. They're being silent to show respect. Once you see it as a different language, you stop taking it so personally.
That feels like such a powerful idea to end on. We've really covered so much ground today. From the simple primary colors of happy, sad, angry,
To the social toolkit for responding to others' good and bad news.
all the way to the deep psychology of anxiety and the cultural scripts that govern how we express it.
It's a lot to take in, but if there's one thing to remember, it's that this language is a tool. And the more precise your tools, the better you can navigate your own feelings and connect with others.
So that question, how are you feeling, shouldn't be a throwaway line. It can actually be a gateway to real connection.
It's an invitation. When you stop saying, I'm fine, and you dare to say, I'm a bit downcast today, or I'm thrilled about this, you give the other person something real to connect with.
So here's our final thought for you, the listener. The next time you're in that elevator and someone asks, how are you? Let's pause. For 1 second, don't hit the autopilot I'm fine button.
Reach into that toolkit we talked about. Try out a more specific word. Optimistic, exhausted, a little anxious. Just see what happens.
And then try turning that lens outward. Listen for the short fuses or the butterflies in the people you talk to. We hope this deep dive helps you navigate your world with a little more clarity and a lot more connection.
We wish you a day of positive and, more importantly, well-understood emotions. Okay, I want to start today with a scenario that I think is going to make every single person listening right now sweat a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a universal human experience, and it is universally awful.
Okay, starting with the pressure on, I like it. Where are we going with this?
Picture this. You're at a dinner party, surrounded by people you sort of know but don't really know. Or maybe even higher stakes. You're sitting in a job interview.
Oh, the worst.
The fluorescent lights are humming, you're wearing your best clothes, you've prepped a resume, you're ready to talk about your skills, and then the person across the table looks you dead in the eye and asks the most terrifyingly simple question in the English language.
Oh, yes. Is it, tell me about yourself?
It's worse, they ask. So what kind of person are you?
Oof. Yeah. That is the ultimate stump the chump question, isn't it?
It is.
It feels like a trap.
It paralyzes people because suddenly your mind goes blank. You start grasping for words.
Yeah.
You forget your entire life history. And what do we usually come up with in that panic? We default to the most generic, boring stuff imaginable. We say, oh, I'm nice.
Or I'm friendly.
I'm friendly.
Right. We give them the cardboard cutout version of ourselves because we simply don't have the vocabulary accessible in that moment to paint a real picture.
Exactly.
We lack the precision tools to describe our own character.
Exactly. And that frustration, that gap between who we really are and the flat, boring way we describe ourselves is exactly what we are solving today.
I'm really excited for this one. We are digging into a fascinating stack of materials from the Learning English podcast, specifically a really insightful episode featuring speakers Emma and John.
Right.
And what they're doing is essentially handing us a toolkit.
It's a toolkit for character analysis, right?
Precisely. And it's important to note right up front, this is actually part 2 of their series.
Okay.
In their previous discussion, they talked about feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
You know, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm angry.
Which are important, sure. We all have feelings.
They are. But the source material makes a really crucial distinction right at the start regarding the difference between part 1 and part 2. Emotions are transient. They are the weather. It's raining today, might be sunny tomorrow. You might be angry because you're hungry, but happy once you eat a sandwich.
I love that analogy. The weather changes constantly.
But today we are talking about personality. We aren't talking about the weather. We are talking about the climate.
The climate. That's such a good way to frame it. The climate is what happens over the long term. It's the permanence.
Exactly. The source defines personality as the essential you. It's what you are truly like inside, whether you're having a good day or a bad day.
Ah, okay.
If you're a genuinely kind person, you're likely kind even when you're tired or stressed. That's the distinction. It's the bedrock versus the shifting sands of emotion.
Right. The bedrock. So our mission today is to unpack the hierarchy that the source material builds. And I use the word hierarchy on purpose because they don't just throw a dictionary at us and say, good luck.
No, it's structured.
They build a ladder. They start with the absolute basics, the building blocks, and then they layer on social skills, then workplace reputation, then deep psychology, and finally they sprinkle the whole thing with idioms.
It's a roadmap. By the end of this deep dive, we want you, the listener, to be able to move away from those cardboard cutout descriptions and actually build a three-dimensional model of a human being.
Yeah.
Whether that human being is a new boss, a potential date, or yourself.
So let's lay the foundation. The source calls these the basics, but honestly, looking at the notes here, I feel like we should call this section the trap.
The trap. Why is that?
Because the very first word they tackle is the word we all use, the word we teach children, and yet it is the word the source basically tells us to throw in the trash if we want to be interesting.
And that word is?
The word is nice.
Ah, yes. The nice trap. It is the default setting for humanity, isn't it?
It really is.
How was he? He was nice.
Yeah.
What's she like? She's nice.
And the source comes right out and says it. Nice is a bit boring.
It's harsh, but if you look at it linguistically, they are right. I mean, if we really analyze what nice communicates to a listener, it's remarkably low resolution.
Low resolution, I like that.
The definition is just good and pleasant. It's a filler word. It's beige wallpaper.
It's what you say when you don't have anything bad to say, but you don't have anything specific to say either.
Exactly.
It describes a lack of friction, but it doesn't describe character.
Exactly. You can be nice just by standing in a corner, smiling, and not punching anyone.
Right.
It's passive. It requires almost zero effort to be perceived as nice. But the source offers a much more powerful alternative that sits right next to it, but carries so much more weight.
Kind.
Kind. Now, to the untrained ear, nice and kind sound like synonyms.
Totally.
You might use them interchangeably, but the source draws a sharp line here. While nice is pleasant, kind is active. The definition they provide is very specific. A kind person is someone who cares about others and wants to help them.
That motivation piece is huge.
It's everything.
Nice is holding the door because you happen to be standing there and it would be awkward not to. Kind is seeing someone struggling with their groceries across the parking lot in the rain and rushing over to help them.
Yes. Kindness implies an internal state of heart. It implies empathy and agency.
Agency, that's the word.
If you describe someone as kind in an interview or a eulogy, you are saying something profound about their moral fiber. If you call them nice, you're just saying they had good manners.
That is a massive upgrade in vocabulary. Just that one shift. It turns a description from 2D to 3D.
It really does.
And in this basic tier, the source gives us two other descriptors that act as a sort of binary switch for how people present themselves.
Okay.
We have the funny person and the quiet person.
Right. And again, look at the definitions. They define funny not just as someone who laughs at jokes, that's just having a sense of humor.
Yeah.
They define it as the person who makes you laugh.
The generator.
The generator of laughter,
Okay.
yes. The source uses the example of a brother who tells good jokes. It's an outward projection of energy.
Versus quiet or shy, which is defined simply as someone who doesn't like to talk much.
It's interesting that even here, at the kindergarten level of personality analysis, nice, kind, funny, quiet man, we are categorizing humans into active and passive roles.
That's a great point.
The funny person projects. The quiet person conserves. The kind person acts. The nice person exists.
So if you're listening to this and you want to describe yourself, stop saying you're nice. Are you kind? Are you funny? Be specific. Dig a little deeper.
Specificity is key. But those are just the building blocks. We need to frame the house now.
Which brings us to the intermediate traits. This is the section of the source material that I found really practical because this is where we start judging people.
Judging, that sounds a little ominous.
But well, okay, maybe assessing is a better word. This is where we determine someone's value in our social circle or our workplace.
Okay, that makes sense.
This isn't just, who are you? It's, how do you treat me? And can I count on you?
That's a fair assessment. We are social animals, and we need to know where people fit in the tribe.
Right.
Let's look at the social side first. The source introduces a powerful pair of opposites here, generous and selfish.
Generous is a word we hear a lot, usually around holidays or charity galas. But how does the source actually define it in a day-to-day context?
They define it as someone who gives their time or money freely.
Okay.
And I really appreciate the example they chose. They didn't choose a billionaire writing a giant check to a museum.
Yeah.
They chose a grandmother who cooks food for the whole neighborhood.
I love that example. It completely democratizes the trait. You don't need a bank account to be generous.
Not at all.
Cooking for the neighborhood is an act of service. It's giving of oneself. It's labor.
It's resource allocation. You have time, energy, or food, and you share it, which sets up the antagonist perfectly.
Yeah.
The selfish person.
The source pulls no punches here. A selfish person is defined as someone who only thinks about themselves.
And did you notice the context they used for selfish? They linked it directly to childhood.
Yes. The example was, don't be selfish, share your toys with your sister.
I think that's so telling.
Yeah.
Selfishness is often framed as a primal, childish trait.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We expect toddlers to be selfish.
Right.
They haven't learned theory of mind yet. They think they are the center of the universe. But when we see an adult acting selfishly, refusing to share credit at work, or hoarding resources, it feels particularly jarring because it signals a lack of maturity.
It's like they haven't grown out of that mine phase.
Exactly.
It's unattractive because it's regression. So socially, we have the givers, generous, and the takers, selfish. But then we spend 40 hours a week at work. We need a different set of metrics for that environment.
And the source transitions beautifully here to workplace reliability. These are the traits that build your professional reputation.
The big headline word here is reliable.
It sounds boring, doesn't it? Reliable.
It really does.
It sounds like a description of a Honda Civic. But in human relationships, reliability is the bedrock of trust. The definition provided is simple but profound. Someone who always does what they say they will do.
Do what you say. It's 4 words. But think about how rare that actually is in the modern world.
It's incredibly rare. Finding someone who is truly 100% reliable, who calls when they say they will, who delivers the report on time without being chased, who shows up at 9.0 if they said 9.00 is like finding gold.
Why do we value it so much? Is it just convenience?
I think it's deeper. It's anxiety reduction.
Oh, that's interesting.
If I know you are reliable, I don't have to carry the mental load of worrying about your part of the project.
Right.
I can trust you. You become a safe harbor in the chaos of work. Unreliable people create work for everyone else because we have to constantly check on them.
That makes so much sense. Reliability is actually a form of kindness to your team.
It is.
And paired with reliable in the source text is hardworking.
Which is defined as someone who puts significant effort into their work. They give us the example of John, who stays late to finish a project.
Good old John. We all know a John. Or we hope we know a John.
We value the Johns of the world because they carry the load. They exert force to move things forward. But then we have the opposite, the trait that drives everyone crazy, lazy.
The definition here is hilarious to me in its simplicity. A person who does not want to work or use energy.
Use energy. I really like that phrasing. It suggests that laziness isn't just inactivity, it's a hoarding of one's personal resources.
A hoarding.
A lazy person is protecting their own energy at the expense of the group. They're refusing to contribute their calories to the collective effort.
So if we look at this intermediate tier, generous, selfish, reliable, hardworking, lazy, we are basically filling out a character sheet for a video game character.
Huh, that's a good way to put it.
Is this person going to help the team? Are they reliable and hardworking? Or are they going to drag us down by being selfish and lazy?
Precisely. It moves beyond, is this person pleasant, to, is this person functional?
Functional.
Can I build a life or a business with them? It's a utilitarian assessment.
Okay, so we've covered the basics, and we've covered how we act in the world. Now, I want to go deeper. The source calls this the advanced level, and this is where we stop looking at behavior and start looking at the engine under the hood. We are talking psychology.
This is my favorite part of the source material because it tackles 2 of the most misused, misunderstood words in the English language.
Oh, I know what's coming.
Words that people throw around constantly on social media and dating apps. Introverts and extroverts.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like everyone thinks they know what these mean, but they usually get it wrong. The stereotype is extroverts are friendly party animals, and introverts are shy hermits who hate people.
Right. And the source material corrects this immediately. It pivots the definition away from social skills and focuses entirely on one thing: energy.
Let's break that down. How does the source define the extrovert?
An extrovert is defined as someone who gets their energy from being around other people.
It's a charging station.
Exactly. Imagine a battery. An extrovert goes to a party, they talk to strangers, they engage in long meetings, not just because they are nice, but because that interaction literally charges their internal battery. They leave the event feeling more alive, more buzzing than when they arrived.
So talking is their fuel. And conversely, the introvert.
The source is very careful here to add a nuance that destroys the stereotype.
Yeah.
Say an introvert might actually like people.
Right. It's not about being antisocial.
Not at all. They might be charming, funny, and enjoy socializing. But the definition is that they get their energy from being alone.
So the introvert goes to that same party, maybe has a great time, tells some jokes, functions perfectly well socially, but at the end of the night,
their battery is at 0%. The low battery light is flashing. They drained.
Right.
They need to go home, sit in a quiet room, maybe read a book, and recharge. That social interaction cost them energy, whereas for the extrovert, it gave them energy.
I think that battery analogy is the only way to really understand it. It removes the judgment.
Totally.
Being an introvert isn't a flaw. It's just a different wiring system.
But here is the aha moment that the source provides. And I'm so glad they included this because life isn't black and white.
What's that?
They introduced the term ambivert.
The ambivert.
Yeah.
The savior of the undecided.
Or simply the reality for most of us. The source notes that most people are actually a mix. We aren't simple binary switches.
That feels true.
You might be outgoing at a dinner with close friends, displaying extroverted behavior, but need total silence after a busy day at work, which is an introverted need. Ambivert gives us a label for that flexibility.
It's a relief, honestly. You don't have to pick a team. You can be fluid.
It allows for a much more accurate self-description. If someone asks, are you an introvert or extrovert? Saying, I'm an ambivert is usually the most honest answer. It tells me that context matters for you.
So that covers our energy engine. But what about our windshield?
Go.
How do we see the world? The source introduces another pair of advanced terms here, optimistic and pessimistic.
This is about perception and prediction. An optimist is defined as someone who sees the good side and thinks the future will be good.
Like the student who walks out of a really tough exam. Maybe they missed a question, but they think, you know what? I think I did okay. I bet I passed.
They visualize a positive outcome.
Right.
It's a mental posture of hope. And the pessimist is the inverse. The definition is someone who always expects bad things to happen.
The source uses the example of the person who always thinks it's going to rain.
Which is such a vivid image. Picture a beautiful sunny day, blue skies, birds singing. The optimist sees the sunshine. The pessimist looks at the one tiny cloud on the horizon and says, just you wait, storm's coming.
Why do we consider these sophisticated descriptors? Why are they in the advanced section?
Because they predict resilience.
Resilience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Knowing if someone is an optimist or a pessimist tells you how they're going to handle a crisis. If the project fails, the optimist looks for the solution or the lesson. They think we can fix this.
Right.
The pessimist focuses on the disaster and says, I told you so. I knew this would fail.
It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It often is. Your worldview shapes your actions. So we've built this incredible structure now. We have the foundation, kind, funny. We have the walls, reliable, generous. We have the wiring, introvert, optimist. But sometimes standard adjectives just feel a little bit clinical.
They lack flavor. Saying he is very kind is accurate, but it's not poetry.
It lacks color. And that brings us to the final section of the source's toolkit, the color of language, idioms.
The source makes a great point here. Native speakers love idioms. We use them constantly without thinking.
Oh, all the time.
If you want to sound natural, or if you want to really capture the essence of a person, you can't just say, he is kind. You need the imagery.
Idioms carry cultural weight. They paint a picture in the listener's mind. They bypass the logic centers and go straight to emotion.
Let's start with the positive ones. The source gives us the gold standard, literally, heart of gold.
She has a heart of gold. Just visualize that for a second. Gold implies purity. It implies value. It implies something rare and precious.
It does.
The definition is someone who is extremely kind and helps everyone.
It's the ultimate compliment, isn't it? You can't really get better than having a heart of gold. It suggests their kindness isn't just an action, it's their substance.
It's who they are.
It's what they are made of.
And then we have the life of the party.
This pairs beautifully with the extrovert concept we discuss.
It does. This is the person having the most fun and making everyone laugh. The source mentions Sarah, who is the center of attention. But notice the idiom life of the party.
Yeah.
Without them, the party is dead. They bring the vitality.
But the source also gives us some idioms that are, well, let's say they are a little less flattering.
A little bit.
But very relatable.
We have the couch potato.
I feel seen. I think everyone listening feels seen.
I think we all do. It's a vivid image, isn't it? Someone who sits on the sofa, lump-like, motionless, resembling a potato, watching TV all day.
But what I appreciate is that the source admits everyone can be a couch potato sometimes. They mention Sundays specifically.
And that's a fair point. Being a couch potato can be a temporary state,
Okay.
a recovery mode for an ambivert, perhaps.
Oh, interesting.
It's not always a character flaw. Sometimes it's just Sunday. But then we have a phrase that is purely negative, the pain in the neck.
Ouch. Literally and figuratively.
This describes someone annoying or bothersome. The example given is a neighbor playing loud drums.
We've all had that neighbor.
Oh, yeah.
Or that coworker who replies to everyone on the email chain with something irrelevant.
Yes. Notice the difference between calling someone annoying and calling them a pain in the neck. Annoying is an intellectual observation. Pain in the neck is visceral. It expresses a physical reaction. It expresses how that person impacts you. It hurts. It causes stiffness.
It's personal. So we have this massive list of words now. We have kind, reliable, extrovert, pessimist, couch potato, heart of gold. It's a lot of vocabulary, but the real magic and the source really nails this in the final section is when you start combining them.
Synthesis. That is the goal.
Yeah.
We rarely describe people with just one word because humans aren't one-dimensional caricatures.
No, we're complicated.
We are contradictions.
The source provides a perfect example of this in the form of a role play. Emma is describing her new boss.
Right.
And when you look at the words she chooses, she's actually building a very complex, nuanced profile.
Let's break that profile down because it's a masterclass in using this toolkit. She doesn't just say, my boss is nice.
No. She starts with the intermediate work traits. She says the boss is hardworking.
Okay, so we know she puts in the effort. She's not lazy. She's setting a standard.
Then she adds a basic moral trait. She is kind.
That's a powerful combination. Hardworking but kind. It suggests she has high standards for the work, but empathy for the workers.
Right.
She's not a tyrant. She grinds, but she cares.
Then she reinforces the trust factor with reliable.
So she does what she says she'll do. If she promises to help, she helps.
Right.
So far, she sounds like a dream boss.
But then comes the nuance, the shade, if you will.
Okay.
She describes the boss's energy. She is definitely an extrovert. She loves long meetings and talking to everyone.
Now pause there. For an introvert employee, a boss who loves long meetings and talking to everyone sounds like a nightmare.
It totally does.
That sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
Please, no more meetings.
It could be, but here is the crucial distinction the source makes. Emma explicitly says, at least she isn't a pain in the neck.
That is such an important pivot.
It is. It acknowledges that this behavior, long meetings, lots of talking, could be annoying. It could make her a pain in the neck.
Sure.
But because she is also kind and reliable, it balances out. She's talkative, but not bothersome.
That's the power of layering these words. If you just said she's an extrovert, you might think she's loud and overbearing.
Exactly.
If you just said she's kind, you might think she's a pushover. But kind, reliable extrovert who isn't a pain in the neck. Now I know exactly who this woman is.
Yeah, you can picture her.
I can see her walking down the hall with a smile, maybe holding a donut, ready to talk for 20 minutes, but also ready to help me solve a problem.
You have a three-dimensional model of a human being. Strict, but kind. Talkative, but effective.
It really shows that vocabulary isn't just about memorizing lists for a test. It's about precision. It's about being able to capture the reality of the people around us.
And it gives you confidence.
Yeah.
As the source mentions, whether you are describing a friend, a family member, or yourself in that dreaded interview we started with, having these tiers of vocabulary allows you to present a true picture.
You can move past the cardboard cutout. You can be real.
So we've gone from the boring nice all the way up to ambivert and heart of gold. We've seen how to mix and match these traits to create a real persona.
It's a full spectrum of character.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you, our listener, with the question that the source material poses at the very end.
Okay.
It's a question for self-reflection. We started with, what kind of person are you? But let's get specific.
Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Or maybe, now that you know the word, are you an ambivert?
Take a moment to think about it today. Where do you get your energy? Do you recharge alone or do you recharge with others?
And once you figure that out, maybe ask yourself, are you the life of the party, or are you happily a couch potato on Sundays?
There is no wrong answer, just different ways of being.
Exactly. And hey, try to be kind instead of just nice this week. See what happens. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
It's been a pleasure.
See you next time.